friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you a truly terrifying story from Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We won't drag it out. I installed a camera in my room. What I saw still haunts me. "She's in my dream again," my wife breathed, waking me up. It was 3 a.m. For the past few weeks, my wife had been having the same nightmare. A pale woman would appear next to our bed and pull the sheets off. She would point at our bodies, moving her finger from one to the other, whispering, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo." The dream seemed strange to me, but perfectly understandable for a woman who loves horror movies. So I'd comfort her and fall back asleep. But this morning was different. There was panic in her voice. It made me get up and see what had happened. "What's wrong?" I rubbed my eyes, trying to shake off the sleep. My wife was standing on her side of the bed, terror on her face. "Honey, what is it?" She pointed at the floor. At her feet lay hair. What the hell was that? I couldn't believe my eyes. The hair on the left side of my wife's head was unevenly cut. "It happened while I was sleeping," she murmured. I called the police. They drove us to her parents' house. The thought that someone had broken into our home wouldn't leave me. "I think it's connected to my dreams," my wife said. "It can't be. They're just nightmares." The police couldn't figure out what happened. They assumed some psycho had broken in and cut my wife's hair. The worst part was that there were no signs of forced entry. The only real evidence was my wife's hair, but it gave the investigators no answers. Later, my wife went to the hairdresser. Now she had a shorter cut, ending at mid-neck. She was still beautiful, just looked a little different. After the police assured us our home was safe, we went back. My wife asked her friend, an esoteric enthusiast, to come and inspect the house. "It might be a curse," she mused. "Sometimes evil entities attach themselves to people and haunt them." "You're saying a demon cut my wife's hair?" "Possibly. There are many stories about entities that torment beautiful women." I wasn't a big believer, but I was willing to entertain the possibility. So I asked, "How do we get rid of it?" "Try this." She pulled a small vial from her jacket. "Anointing oil. Sprinkle it on the doors and walls, and evil entities won't be able to enter the house." I dripped a few drops on the front and back doors, and on the exterior walls. It felt foolish, but I couldn't explain what was happening. It couldn't hurt, after all. After her friend left, I set up a camera in the bedroom. I assured my wife, "If anything happens, we'll catch it on tape." What happened next is almost impossible to believe. If I hadn't seen it on camera, I wouldn't believe it myself. It started after we fell asleep. A few hours later, my wife woke me up. "Honey, I had that nightmare again." A sense of dread washed over me. The hair incident had only been a few months ago. I turned on the lamp and said, "Calm down and try to sleep. I'll watch over you." My wife dozed off again. I still wasn't sure if what was happening was paranormal. Dreams aren't real, right? They can't manifest. They're just figments of our imagination. I wondered if my wife could have cut her own hair in her sleep, in a fit of somnambulism. I'd heard of people doing strange things in that state. Anyway, I must have dozed off myself because I woke up to my wife's scream. Frightened, I jumped out of bed. "Helen!" She was standing in the bathroom in front of the mirror. "Oh my God, it happened again." I looked up and noticed her left eyebrow was missing. "Something was looming over me," she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. "And then It scratched my skin. I can't stay in this house anymore. She rushed past me, grabbed the keys from the glass bowl by the door, and ran outside. I was too stunned to react. I heard the sound of her car driving away. She must have gone to her parents' house. I gathered my courage and stayed in the house. I was determined to find the source of this outrage. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen. I searched the house thoroughly. Like last time, no signs of forced entry. I called the police, told them everything. Mentioned that my wife had left and I was staying to find out who had broken into our home. I said I had a camera and was ready to hand over the footage, but before they arrived, I wanted to see the footage myself, to check if something, well, paranormal had actually gotten in. I opened the app on my computer, fast-forwarded to when my wife woke me up. There I was, sitting up in bed, turning on the light. My wife lay back down. I sped through it, 10 minutes of me just sitting there. Then I dozed off. And then I stopped the recording abruptly. A woman. She had appeared from nowhere, lurking in the corner of our room. Even with the extra light from my lamp, she looked blurry, like the camera didn't want to focus on her. At exactly 2:23 a.m., the woman approached the foot of our bed. She was about 5'3", average build. She wore loose pajamas, her face hidden by tangled hair. Just like in my wife's nightmares, the woman pulled the blanket off us and examined our bodies. She pointed her finger at my wife and then, like a child reciting a rhyme, began moving it back and forth between her and me. I felt sick. I jumped up from the chair and vomited on the floor. The thought that someone had been in our house, watching us, was unbearable. It horrified me to my core. But pulling myself together, I returned to the computer and rewound the video a few seconds. I assumed the woman had somehow climbed in through a window and slipped back out unnoticed. However, when I tried to find the exact moment she appeared, I was surprised to find there wasn't one. The woman simply materialized in the corner of the room, like a ghost crawling out of its grave. An evil entity. Our friend's words echoed in my head. But that would mean this uninvited guest wasn't real, that it was an entity haunting me and my wife. But that's impossible, right? No, I told myself. It has to be a real person. That woman has to be real. Then I heard a sound. Tap, tap, tap. Knocking came from the closet in my bedroom. A series of knocks, like someone asking to be let out. Tap, tap, tap. An electric shock seemed to jolt through my body. The skin on my neck prickled. Oh God, where was the police? I looked around for my phone and remembered I'd left it in the living room. I slowly got up and headed for the hallway, my eyes fixed on the closet. Tap, tap, tap. My only comfort was that the police were already on their way. I'd told them someone was in my house, and they'd assured me they'd be there in minutes. I just had to get out of there. Then I'd be safe. I bolted for the hallway. The knocking from the closet grew louder. I reached the living room, grabbed my phone from the couch, and reached into the glass bowl by the front door for my keys and wallet. They weren't there. Had my wife taken my keys too? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The voice was soft and playful, like a child learning a nursery rhyme. I backed toward the door and, overcoming my fear, turned around. It was the woman from my wife's nightmares. Her skin was so gray it looked like concrete. Her hair was dark, like rotting leaves, and her eyes were the color of congealed fat, the kind that forms on the surface of soup left in the fridge overnight. In one hand, she held my keys and wallet. In the other, a rusty straight razor. "Catch a tiger by the toe," she sang. "Eeny, meeny, miny, The woman moved with incredible speed, lunging at me. "Oh God, help me!" I recoiled in terror. Somehow, I managed to reach the door and fling it open. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the steel of the razor flash in her hands. I dove into the yard, barely avoiding the strike. As I fell onto the grass, I heard the sound of a car pulling up. I looked up and saw 2 police officers running toward me. Thank God. "Help, please!" I pointed at the house. "She has a weapon!" The officers rushed past me, an older man and a young woman. The demonic woman froze in the doorway for a moment, watching us, then slammed the door shut. The sound of the lock clicking echoed. The young officer helped me up. "Do you have a back door?" "Yes, on the other side." The senior officer headed for the back door. He disappeared around the corner, and I heard him kick the door in. "Stay here," the woman ordered me. She rushed to the front door and tried to open it. "Clear," her partner's voice came over the radio. I sighed with relief as the senior officer threw open the front door. His partner entered the house. A few minutes later, they came back out. Their faces were puzzled. "There's no one in there," the woman said. After that, my wife and I couldn't stay in that house. A few days later, we moved in with her parents and moved most of our things. The rest are still in our old house, but we're never going back. What scares us most now is my wife's hair. It won't grow. No matter what she does, the hair on the left side stays short. Her eyebrow hasn't grown back either. She has to use a false one to hide it. I just hope the nightmares don't start again. Part of me wonders if this woman was connected to our old house, or if she somehow managed to follow us to our new one. Just last week, my mother-in-law woke up in the middle of the night, screaming. I was terrified, jumped out of bed and rushed into the hallway to check on her. I stopped at her door and heard her talking to my father-in-law. She kept saying something about a pale child dancing in the corner of their room, singing, "Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down." How did you like today's story? Don't forget to rate the video. Until next time.